Hey, this is WhyBeAre, and I decided let's make some more videos for Grand Theft Auto 5, starting with a video for this. This is the monster train. So imagine you're a billionaire, okay, and you say, I want a monster truck that looks like a train. And the engineers tell you, that's a terrible idea. You really don't want that. It'll perform terribly. And your response to that is, I don't care. I'm rich. Now make it happen. This is what you would get. So this mod replaces either the Liberator or the Marshal. I personally have it replacing the Liberator just because that's the default one it replaces, but you can set it up for either one. And truthfully, this thing handles like a banana on stilts. It is unbelievably terrible to drive, but also fun at the same time because you really don't have much control over where it goes. Your main job is just to make sure it doesn't roll over too often. Like, that really is the main job of the driver here. It's not to make it go in any one direction. Your job is just to make sure it doesn't flip over too much and explode like that. That was unfortunate. Let's get a new one then. I didn't expect that to happen. Oh, there we go. A nice shiny new one. It doesn't explode that easily, actually. I mean, it wasn't because I rolled over or something. I actually just happened to hit it in its bad spot. Like, it has spots where if you hit it there, it will blow up. But most of the time, that's actually hard to do. One fun thing, though, is if you roll over, you can roll over forever. So there's traffic in the way, kind of stopping it from showing it properly. But there you go. You can see I can just keep rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling until I hit something, basically. And I thought that was kind of funny. It's just like I'm like an earthworm just rolling around and wiggling about. And then when I'm done being an earthworm and letting cars drive right through me, I am once again the monster train. And as you can see, though, this thing does an amazing job of climbing over just about every normal car. It does struggle, though, with some of the bigger things like the fire truck right there. Yeah, it'll struggle with that. And big rigs, too, it will struggle with those. I'll show that off to you once I suggest this thing to go in the right direction, and it listens to me. Like I said, you suggest where this thing goes, and it may or may not listen to you. So you can see fire truck kind of stops us in our tracks. But normal cars, yeah, you guys are nothing. Nothing to me. I can drive over all of you for days. Like, just like that. That is beautiful. Uh-oh. Tunnel, though. I'm able to still make it somehow. I'm scraping my roof like the whole way. Okay, I can't go over this dude. I can't go over him. So now we're going on the side of him. Oh, yeah. This is making no sense at all. I can't even see what's happening. I think my truck just ate his truck. Yeah, my truck literally ate it, it looks like. Okay. Not literally, because it doesn't have a mouth, but it has consumed it inside of it. And, well, I think that demonstrates to you a pretty good idea of how well it goes over other vehicles. So let's go somewhere else to do some other stuff. So let's go to the airfield over here and do some driving over jumps and stuff, because I haven't done anything like that. Off-roading abilities. Worse than on-road abilities, because it's a lot easier to hit something where you roll over here. Like a car, usually you can save it. Here, you can hit things really awkwardly, and you know, this thing just doesn't exactly react the way you would expect. Like, I'm kind of used to Grand Theft Auto physics, I like to think, but this thing just handles so awkwardly because it's so long and tall, I guess, or something about it makes it just handle really funny. It makes it fun to drive, but it makes it nonsensical to drive because everything you do just seems awkward. So yeah, doing that kind of stuff works good. How's it face against the real train? It actually just dominates the real train. I just drove right over it. So monster train is superior to regular train. That's good to know. Alright, let's try doing like a jump on that hill right there. And we're going to try to backflip this, even though I have no chance of being able to do a real backflip from this angle and speed. Come on, backflip! Yeah, no backflip. But you see, going through this kind of stuff, it's not exactly clean, but it does it. How about this? What happens when you bring it into the water? Oh, goodness, don't flip. What is that? See, I swear, sometimes all you can do is just make sure don't flip over fully. That's all I could do right there is don't flip over fully, please. So let's make our way to the water eventually. Just give me about 10 minutes to get the 10 feet there is. Oh my goodness, onto the... No, not quite onto the fire. I mean, not the fire. Why did I call it the fire? That is weird. The gas station, though, is what I was thinking. I'm trying to figure out why I call it the fire station. I have absolutely no idea. So if you go in the water, it kind of floats and it doesn't stay drivable or anything. It doesn't have like some advanced train technology that allows you to drive it underwater or something. It just drowns. So we can go and pop out of there, go back over to the desert. Oops, I didn't hit pop out. I actually want to pop out because I want to show you something too. So let's get a regular one that's actually drivable. Okay, and then I'm just gonna say park it right there. That's parking it. It just keeps rolling. The brakes aren't that good. So let's say you wanted to get into this vehicle. You run up to it and you hit Y, and you hit Y, and you hit Y, and you hit Y, and you hit Y. And I say Y because I'm using the Xbox controller here, but that's the key you would normally use to go into a vehicle. You hit Y and don't move, nothing happens. You hit Y and walk around the whole perimeter of this thing. Yet again, nothing happens. As far as I can tell, there's no real way to actually enter this thing. Like, I can walk around and hit Y all I want. I could stick my head right through the driveline, right through pieces of the suspension. It's not happening. The only way to get in this vehicle is if you spawn yourself in it using the car spawner like that. Otherwise, you're not getting in it. So if you accidentally jump out of it, you gotta get yourself a new one. And I don't think that's caused from the car spawner or anything like that. But finding one of these in the wild, there's only one location and it's only sometimes, so it's not exactly the easiest thing to do. And I mean the Liberator. I would assume the Liberator spawns as one of these now, and it doesn't just never spawn. It makes sense to me that it would do that. It does have an interior camera, by the way, which is kind of funny because, Franklin, how are you steering this thing? I'm using the steering wheel. What steering wheel? The invisible one. Then, Franklin, how are you doing this? This doesn't even make sense. How are you steering this thing? It don't make no sense. Then you got Franklin like, I'm steering. Like a steering wheel. I mean, it's just, it's so illogical. Like, what is he even steering on? There's nothing there. But that's really this whole thing. It's illogical. It makes no sense. But it's fun.
This don't make no fucking sense.
Like, going over a giant gap like that, it almost can do it, which is just insane. That is a huge gap. See right there, though, what was the suspension doing? Like, the whole rear end just kind of floats for a second and stuff. Like, this suspension setup is just weird. It's so bouncy, so soft, so top heavy. It's just the weirdest driving car you'll ever have. Alright, like, look at this. Okay, how many wheels are touching the ground? Looks like none of them, right? Yet, if I accelerate, I guess it doesn't really move too much. Like before, I had some weird thing where it looked like no wheels were touching the ground and I was able to accelerate out of it. This one, not so much. I have to wiggle out of it if I really wanted to, which means we do the infinite wiggle. Like that, and then we could be free.
Oh, shit.
Like, you can't get this thing stuck, really. Like, not permanently. You can get it in a tight spot. But usually you can get out of it eventually. It's kind of a pain to do that, though, just because it wants to tip over to the left, then it wants to tip over to the right, left, right, left, right. All it wants to do is tip, but you can get it upright. You just gotta try hard enough. And yeah, it's not very fast, as you can tell. I think a lot of the stats are shared with the normal monster truck in the game in terms of like performance and all that. I mean, it just feels pretty similar except for the top heaviness. Like, how does that even physics out? Like, I was just literally driving on the side of my vehicle. And I call it a vehicle because I don't know if I could really call it a truck or a car or even an automobile because it is part train. It is a very strange thing. And I think that really about covers what I would want to do with this thing. I showed off what I wanted to show. I really don't know what to do in these videos. Like, I think that these videos might be just a lot shorter naturally than BeamNG Drive videos because there's not as much to do with the vehicles in Grand Theft Auto. But if there's anything in particular you think I missed for like if I was to do car reviews for Grand Theft Auto, feel free to put it in the comments and I'll take note of it so I can make sure the future videos have everything you guys would want to see. Otherwise, until next time, this is WhyBeAre. I'll see ya. Stunting! That was the worst stunt ever.